I'm David Ferbata with Agribusiness Global. I'm here with Cristian Garcia de Paz. He's president of CropLife Mexico, and he's here to talk a little bit about the glyphosate situation. Cristian, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, David. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you.
So we're coming off a year in Mexico in which imports to glyphosate were restricted through an administrative mechanism of an import license to circumvent the legal registration. Can you tell me, is that still happening? And what's the supply look like in Mexico's value chain?
Thank you, David. Yeah, it's happening in Mexico, actually. We have no response from authority since 2020. Until the day of today that we are talking, we don't have answer of this submitted requested from to the authority from the companies to import glyphosate in Mexico. How this affect our value chain in the production of food in Mexico? We are facing problems with the farmers, but not as much as we expected, because for answer this question, David, it's important to take some circumstances in Mexico. For example, in the last year, we have less rain than we expected. Then we don't have the need to control these bad malezas from our crops. Then the use of glyphosate reduces. That gives us the opportunity to keep some quantity of glyphosate. Our companies and the farmers have a little supply of glyphosate that they can use in this new season. That they have the opportunity to cultivate for at least 1 or 2 months of this second quarter of the year. But I think that in June of this year, we will have a several lack of glyphosate in the Mexican market.
Yeah, and that's concerning, especially because on December 31st, in addition to restricting the imports of glyphosate, there was a decree that there will be the permanent phase out of glyphosate along with its biotech crops that are the companion to that chemistry. This is concerning for trade with Mexico and also for the livelihood of its farmers. Can you talk a little bit about that decision and whether it's affecting Mexico's farmers' ability to produce food?
Yeah, David, we have several problems with this decree. This decree came to life, as you say, December 31st of 2020, in New Year's Eve, without notice, without prevention from the authority. Then this decree take us in our homes with our families, ready for our New Year's dining, and it's a decision that we have very much concern in all the agri-food industry, not only the farmers, not only our industry of developers of technology, of biotechnology, because this decree will affect all the value chain in Mexico, and we expect that this create a very serious issue, a very serious problem in safety, in food safety in Mexico, because it's not only the ban of glyphosate, not only the ban of GMO corn in Mexico. It's an idea. It's an idea that it seems to be important as the only objective for our government to talk about agroecology. Agriculture without chemicals, without technology, going back to traditions, to farmers doing everything with their hands, with the natural inputs, then this will cause, or this will generate some problems in the food production for 120 millions of people in Mexico. Then this could be the beginning of a several. This could be the beginning of more bannings with another molecules and for another crops. In this case is the GMO corn, the yellow corn from Mexico. We produce only the half that we consume. But we think that the next step is the soybean. The soybean, it's an important input for agro-industry in Mexico, agri-food industry in Mexico. We have another grains that come from crops, GMO crops. Then we have a serial risk in this decision in Mexico. In the other side, the use of glyphosate. Let me tell you, David, that in Mexico is the agrochemical more used in our agricultural production of food. We're using in more than 100 crops in Mexico. The more important crops like corn, like frijol, like the beans, like the avocado, the tomato, no, and not only important for our agri-food industry, it's important too for the exports that we use to another countries. Then we have two problems: the lack of food in Mexico and the diminish of our quality of food exporter to the world.
Yeah, and there's a concern also without the ability to import foods that are grown either on biotech or have glyphosate used in that production system, that you would emasculate your feed imports and perhaps force Mexico to use its white corn grown for human consumption into feed, creating a food security question.
Exactly, David. And that idea came to my mind, a very clear example. In Mexico, you spend $1 or less to buy a 1 kilogram of tortilla. You know that tortilla, it's a very basic food in Mexico. Every family in Mexico eats tortilla. Then, if this advance, we have a very serious issue that maybe we will have to spend $5 per kilogram of tortilla. This is a big issue because the 98% of the families in Mexico doesn't have $5 to buy tortilla. This will be a several issue in Mexico, at least for our safety, food safety. Then, and if I talk of tortilla, that it's a basic food in Mexico, I can talk about the beef. I can talk about the pork. I can talk chicken, eggs, and anything that you want to talk about. Because if the kilogram of egg in Mexico more or less $1.50, you could raise this price to $8, $9, $10 per kilogram of egg. This is inconceivable.
So I understand the farmers are lobbying the government, and also the United States and Canada are lobbying for some changes to this policy through USMCA, the new trade agreement for North America. Can you talk a little bit about whether or not the government is considering emergency use protocols for any of the use of glyphosate? You say the value chain was sufficient in supplying product until maybe June. What happens at June? Do you think that these emergency use or special use exemptions will exist?
I don't know if we can talk about emergency use, David, because this ban of glyphosate, it's not a done deal, because this will be a done deal when the court say that it is. By now, I know that several organizations of producers and farmers are suing, taking legal resources against this decree, because this decree affects very much so much interest of the food producers. Then, like I told you, I don't know. I think that in June, it's not be the month that we have the answer of the court about this issue. But I think that if the court says something definitively, maybe it will be for August, and maybe for August or for September, we could know about if the government takes some action to avoid this damage to the food production in Mexico. I know that some ministries of the Mexican government, like Semarnat, that is the environmental ministry, SADER is the agricultural ministry, the health ministry, are discussing right now what will be the impacts and how they could avoid these impacts or solve the problem that they generate for this decree. But at least, David, I think that we know more about this issue of the definition of the actions of the government through August or September of this year.
Are there alternate chemistries that farmers can use? Nothing's really being considered or available?
There are alternatives, David. Of course, we have another molecules that they could use, but it's important to say that the glyphosate represents the best option for the farmers, for price, for efficiency, for supply, for many reasons. The farmers prefer glyphosate first option than the other agrochemicals. We have alternatives, but the market demands the glyphosate because it's the more effective alternative for the farmers.
And because of that demand, is there any concern that the black market will fill the void that that is needed for farmers to produce with glyphosate?
Of course, David, you touch a sensible point, because in Mexico, it's a very big issue, the black market. The black market, at least in Mexico, and it's an important and an impact number, they represent at least 20% of the market in Mexico. Then you imagine the risk that represents the black market in Mexico, because we have not only contraband from at least Central America to Mexico, from US to Mexico, of course, but we have the falsification of products. We have a pirate products in Mexico in our market, and we are concerned too about this. We, like industry, we are very careful about this issue of the illegal market, and we are taking actions against this illegal market, because we need that the authority have conscious about this problem that could come from the 20%, at least 40 or of the half of the market with these prohibitions.
Cristian, thanks so much for talking a little bit about the situation there in Mexico.
Thank you very much, David. It was a pleasure to talk with you.